Week 4 is in the books. A lot to talk about. We are going to give you our straight cash and just trash performances of the week, as well as giving you some of our drop candidates. Should we drop these guys? Let's talk about it. So let's get straight to the episode.
Welcome to the FantasyLand Football Podcast.
Oh my goodness. Another week of the National Football League is done and dusted. I am Zach, here with my co-host Daniel Badaki.
What up?
Badaki, week 4 treated you well, didn't it?
Look, undefeated in our league, and I think 3-1 in another, and then 3-1 in another league. I'm all right.
It was a good week for you.
Yeah, it's a good week. What about you? I know you kind of taking it hard.
Look, there's some weeks of fantasy that you feel like the king of the world, and you win every league, and you're the happiest person on earth. And then there's other weeks like this week where you go up against Joe Mixon in multiple leagues, and also George Kittle in multiple leagues. Just throw in a Dak Prescott there, just to stab the knife a little further in your own back. I lost every single matchup. I also had Calvin Ridley and Kenyon Drake, and they combined for just under 3 points.
Oh my gosh!
To say I'm in a bad place would be an understatement, but that is fantasy, and it happens.
That's right. It happens. It's a new week upon us.
Tell us, did you win your matchups this week? Did you lose? Are you in a good place? Let us know. Hey, welcome into the show. It is Tuesday, 6th of October. I don't know if I said that already. We are doing a OBJ signed jersey giveaway. That's right, OBJ. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about him on the show. Mm-hmm. We are announcing the winner on the 18th of October when the Browns face the Steelers. And by the way, we have officially partnered. This is our first podcast since this has been announced. We have officially partnered with RSA. We're going to talk about them a little bit, but they are helping us with these giveaways. They're our official partner in them. So if you want to sign up for that giveaway, why don't you go ahead and head over to our Instagram at FantasyLand Football. Follow all the steps there to be entered. There are bonus entries as well. Go ahead and follow us while you're there. You can follow us on Twitter at FantasyLand_FB. We give updates on injuries throughout the week and obviously throughout game days. And you can listen to the podcast on any podcast platform out there. That's Spotify, right. iHeartRadio, Google, pretty much anything in the world. You can find us. If you are listening on Apple Pods, please drop us a review. That would be super helpful. And you can always watch the podcast on YouTube where you can see our beautiful faces. If you are doing that, why don't you go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications. But let's get straight into Need to Know news.
What is going on here?
Need to Know news.
Wow.
A lot of news happening around the league. Not as much as previous weeks, which is a good sign, actually, because typically it's injury reports. But let's talk about some need-to-know news that's happening in the NFL right now. Why don't you start us off, Padaki, with some sad news?
Yeah, sad news. Obviously, O.J. Howard, Achilles, likely out for this season. Tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is, I guess, is good for the tight ends. You know, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, all those guys. Shout out to them. But sucks for O.J. Howard.
Yeah. Obviously, hopefully Gronk is fantasy relevant at all now. That would be good for a lot of owners.
Yeah.
Running back Austin Eckler. This is not a good one.
Not at all.
He was injured pretty early on in the game, was spotted on crutches. He wasn't inside the crutches. He was on crutches.
Inside.
Post-game. He hyperextended his knee, and he's also got a hamstring injury. Just a double whammy there. He will miss anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks from what we have heard. I know you've got a feeling that this helps another player. I'm a little bit more skeptical.
Yeah, absolutely. I have Joshua Kelly. I love Joshua Kelly. I think he is going to be someone that's going to step up. But, I mean, I do have Joshua Kelly, but I'm also concerned about Justin Jackson. I think he's going to see a lot of opportunity there. So I'm not really sure who is going to be the lead back. I personally think it's going to be Joshua Kelly. I think that with Joshua Kelly's fumble history in the past 2 games, crucial fumbles, I think, Anthony Lynn is going to want to use Justin Jackson a little bit more just to see how he goes and how he's going to, handle the rock. So
for sure. And I think there's a lot of talk about JJ being really relevant before his injury in preseason. Yeah. Another big running back that goes down from injury, running back Nick Chubb. He left the game with a knee injury. It looks like he is going on IR. That is confirmed. So at minimum, he's going to miss 3 weeks. We believe, from what we've heard, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, like Austin Eckler. More around the 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What's Kareem Hunt's ceiling with this sort of injury?
Look, it's actually very high. If you have Kareem Hunt, you are actually buzzing right now. You are rejoicing. You're happy that you have him. But I think he's gonna take the lead. He's gonna take the lead. He's as just as good of as a back as Nick Chubb, and he's gonna get the carries. He could be a better back because he's a pass catching back. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Nick Chubb owners are sad, and Kareem Hunt owners are pretending to be sad because someone got injured, but they are happy. Julio Jones left Monday Night Football. That hamstring started to bug him again. We don't know much information just yet. Hopefully, we'll find out some more information throughout the day, but it's not a good sign if you're a Julio Jones owner.
No.
It's quite sad, really.
This is really concerning. If I'm a Julio Jones owner, I think that this can prolong. He was out 2 weeks already? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks. So he has re-injured it potentially, was bugging him. It can be another 2 to 4 weeks now. So we'll see what happens.
Last bit of need to know news. Bill O'Brien.
That's pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful.
Get him out.
Perform like that.
It's pitiful. Bill O'Brien has officially been fired as the coach/GM. He's no longer allowed to pretend he's playing Madden.
Nope.
With the Houston Texans.
Nope.
He's out of Houston. Is this a surprise at all to you?
Look, it definitely was a surprise when I heard the news. I think it was long overdue after that trade of DeAndre. I would have been like, what are you doing? If I was the owner, I'd be looking at...
It's so hard not to see the memes of Bill O'Brien. And, what if he had a star wide receiver? What if, it's so hard to feel bad for the guy. I mean, best of luck to him and his family. But you just do not trade away DeAndre Hopkins for not much.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of small injuries throughout the day. On Sunday, Mike Evans, Josh Allen, Chris Carson, they all came back from those injuries, so nothing to really be worried about. Obviously, you want to monitor their status throughout the week, but they should be fine. But hey, before we get into our straight cash and just trash performances of Week 4, we want to tell you a little bit about RSA, Rochester Sports Autographs. We have officially announced that we have partnered with RSA Sports Memorabilia. So what does that mean for you, Fantasyland listeners? Well, this is very good for you.
Huge.
This is great news. Mm-hmm. Great news for you. As you know, we do monthly giveaways for signed sports memorabilia, and man, we love giving away free stuff.
That's right.
You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't we tell you a little bit more about RSA and why we believe they are the go-to for all things sports memorabilia. Did you know, Badaki, that most signed sports memorabilia companies don't actually work directly with the athletes?
Nope.
They use third-party companies, but not RSA.
Wow.
Okay? RSA makes deals directly with the athletes in bulk, so you can always get the best deals in the industry. RSA is also the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor and promises a money-back guarantee on all products.
Wow.
All products. So, hey, if you need some signed sports memorabilia products, head to shoprsa.com. Again, for all your signed sports memorabilia needs, shoprsa.com.
If you don't write checks, how do you pay these guys?
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash. We are going to give you straight cash
Let's go.
first. And of course, we're going to talk trash, but let's talk about the good things that happened this week. Cash. Cash plays from week 4. Why don't you start us off with quarterbacks here, Badaki?
That's right. Obviously, we all know Dak Prescott went off with another crazy game, 502 passing yards for 4 touchdowns, 37 fantasy points. I mean, if you drafted Dak Prescott, you're buzzing. You know, you have him on your team.
You are buzzing.
You mean, gosh, he is putting up ridiculous numbers. And
Yep.
alongside Dak, Tom Brady, 300.
The GOAT.
Yeah, the GOAT. I mean, classic. He's doing what he's known to do. 369 yards, 5 touchdowns, 32 fantasy points. Once again, if you started him, you're buzzing. If you didn't, then maybe pick him up. Who knows? Maybe he'll continue doing this.
To be clear, I don't think anyone started Tom Brady.
No, I don't think so either. But he can
He's
be a
probably on the waiver wire for a lot of people.
good streamer pick. The thing is, you just don't know about Tom. You know, he's on and off. One day he'll go off.
No, you don't.
The next day, his running back goes off, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's they ran for freaking 300 yards. Come on.
It's not a situation I want to personally put myself in, but it is a great streaming option. Let's talk about cash running backs.
Oh,
Joe Moneybag Mixon.
Let's go.
25 carries, 150 plus yards on the ground, but then he put in 6 receptions for 30 yards and 3 total touchdowns, finishing with a whopping 42 plus fantasy points in PPR. And of course, I played against him in 2 leagues. Joe Mixon. Obviously, we both agree this is probably not going to be the standard Joe Mixon game.
No,
Correct?
that's right.
Probably we'll
we'll
see more like 15 to 20 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I think
10 to 15.
I think he will. Yeah, he'll definitely stay the 10 to 15. Personally, Joe Burrows just likes to throw the ball. I think. I don't know. Joe Mixon is not that guy that I thought he was going to be in the beginning of the season. Who knows? Maybe this is the turnaround season. He was the better back in the second half of the season last year. Maybe it's going to be the same thing this year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, here's the thing, right? Why is Dak Prescott so relevant in fantasy right now? Because the Cowboys defense is trash.
Right.
Just absolute trash. We could say the same for the Cincinnati Bengals. That defense is not good at all, which in some way doesn't really help Joe Mixon in the run game all that much.
Yeah.
I think we both agree that this is a game to celebrate, but probably looking to trade high. Am I wrong?
Oh no, absolutely not. You are trading, and I am shopping Joe Mixon. If I have him on my team, I'm shopping him right now. I actually have a question. Joe Mixon or a guy that we're probably going to talk about soon, Chris Carson, for the rest of the season?
That's actually a really, really great question. I think I would go Chris because of the offense, personally.
See, make that. There you go.
Regardless, this week, obviously, Joe Mixon, the most fantasy points.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash. Let's talk Dalvin Cook. If you know me, you know I love Dalvin Cook. He put up numbers 28.6 fantasy points, and the Vikings got their first win.
That's right.
Big shout out. They did beat the 0-4 Houston Texans, but they got a win. Minnesota Vikings fans rejoice. Chris Carson, a guy that we just talked about, 25 fantasy points. And
Huge.
Here's our another cash performance I want to talk about in depth. Antonio Gibson, the weapon. He had 13 carries, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. But here's the big part. 4 receptions for 82 yards.
Wow.
22.8 fantasy points. Here's the deal. Antonio Gibson might be on our next podcast as a trade for candidate from yours truly. You look at his schedule. It might be a homer play, right? Obviously, I'm a Washington fan. It might be a homer play. But if you look at his schedule, it starts to get better and better. Keeping in mind, by the way, that if Dwayne Haskins isn't actually the quarterback, that could be good for Antonio Gibson.
That's right.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. However, we see the potential here. It's obvious that they want him to continually be in the game plan. What do you think of Antonio Gibson? Is this a trajectory that is starting to almost like a Miles Sanders last year, or am I getting too ahead of myself?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for him. I think that Antonio Gibson could be somebody that is going to. You're going to see him later on this season. He's going to be a guy that's going, like you said, the trajectory is getting up towards later in the season. I think this is definitely him. That's a great definition, a great example that you just said with Miles Sanders. I just don't know if I can trade for him right now to hope that he is going to have that that upside later on in the year. I think it's great if you have him on your team.
Yeah.
It's iffy. It's iffy. Would I have him? I'll be glad to have him for sure.
For sure. I think he's a beautiful flex play right now for the rest of the season. Melvin Gordon was our last cash running back. We talked about him on a previous podcast. He did really well against a really bad Jets defense. Let's talk cash wide receivers. Why don't you start us off?
Our giveaway, OBJ, my guy, former Giant.
Odell
Beckham Jr. Look, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns, 38 fantasy points.
Wow.
8 targets, though. I mean, look, 5, he only caught 5 passes.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know if I'm happy that he went off. If you have him on your team, I don't have him personally, but if he went off, you're happy.
Yeah.
But you definitely got to sell him high right now, I think.
For sure. I think we're in agreement here. 5 receptions and you end up with 3 touchdowns. Obviously, there were some trick plays in between there, but I don't think we expect OBJ to do this on a consistent basis.
No.
Amari Cooper, however, 12 receptions on 16 targets.
Crazy.
134 yards and 1 touchdown. 33 fantasy points. Wide receiver 1, there is no question about it.
Wide receiver 1. Oh, I tell you who's not wide receiver number 2 later. Anyways, DJ Chalk, 29 points, 8 receptions, 95 yards. He did his thing. He's back. He looked healthy. He caught that touchdown. I saw that tippy toe. That was really good. Toe drag.
Tiptoeing in my Jordan.
Yeah, he was tiptoeing on the sidelines there. DJ Chalk, he did pretty good.
Adam Thielen is our next one. 26 fantasy points. A lot of people in our DMs saying, what do I do with Adam Thielen? Do I trade him? Do I sit him? And we told everyone, you need to start Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen did really, really great. I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, and I don't want to talk about it too much. However, I want to talk about Justin Jefferson. It's funny, we're in a cash segment, and we're saying Adam Thielen was straight cash, and here I am taking this time to talk about Justin Jefferson. Here's the deal. Right now, at this very, very point, I believe Justin Jefferson is already the more talented wide receiver than Adam Thielen.
Wow.
Okay? To be very clear, I'm not saying that I would rather have Justin Jefferson in fantasy for the rest of the year. I would rather have Thielen. But I think right now, ever since he moved from the slot to the outside, we are seeing the potential with Justin Jefferson. If you got him off the waiver wire last week, it looks like you've got a solid flex play on a weekly basis. He did not give you massive numbers. However, he was over 100 yards again. And if there's a touchdown in there, he's got big numbers every week. Anyway, sorry, Adam Thielen, to take your time to talk about Justin Jefferson. But I'm just hyped on Justin Jefferson. Mike Evans, our last wide receiver, he put up 25 fantasy points. Mike Evans looked like a beast out there on Sunday.
Yeah, he definitely looked. He looked good. He looked good, but he was limping a lot throughout the game. He was playing through that injury. Hopefully he's good enough to play next week. Cause it's a short week. They're playing were they playing next week again?
I actually don't know who the Bucks are actually on Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly. Short week.
They face the Bears.
The Bears.
Bucks at Bears.
You're right. So who knows? I feel like he could be questionable for this game. We'll hopefully get the report soon and see if he practiced.
Yeah. Let's talk tight ends. Take us through tight ends.
George Kittle, Mark Andrews, the boys are back. George Kittle came
Boys
back.
are back in town. Boys are back in town.
That's right. A crazy return for George Kittle. 15 receptions, 15 targets, 183 yards, 40 fantasy points. I mean,
Oh
you are
my
buzzing
gosh.
if you have this guy. And then Mark Andrews, obviously. Look, 8 targets. Well, he only caught 3 of those 8 targets, 57 yards, but he did get into the end zone twice, 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, Mark Andrews did great. I think Mark Andrews is gonna have boom and bust weeks. To be honest,
that's what it looks like right now. It looks like boom and bust. I'm not really sure. Like, yes, 8 targets. He only caught 3 of them. I don't know.
I actually have a question for you because you're in a very. Is this podcast league or a different league? You have Mark Andrews and Darren Waller in a league.
Yes.
That's not podcast league. However, I have a question for you. Rest of season, are you trying to trade away Andrews or Waller? Which one are you trying to get rid of right now?
It's hard to say. I've been trying to figure out because everyone's texting me, who would you rather get rid of? Who don't you want? You know, because I think it's kind of Mark Andrews is 1, and then Darren Waller is my 2 if I had to rank it. But if I had to give away rest of the season right now, it will have to be Mark Andrews is the one that I would want to trade away. He's on a better offense, yes, but Darren Waller has been more consistent so far.
Yeah.
And I think I might have to go with the consistency instead of having the boom or bust games because that can.
To be fair, though, let's not pretend that Darren Waller wasn't on our bust list last week.
Oh, for sure. He's only had 1 bust game when Mark had 2. I think he was bust for 2 weeks straight. And plus, Darren Waller played the Patriots. Of course, Bill Belichick is gonna game plan over that. But anyways, I don't know. I think for me, it right now had to be Darren Waller. There's a lot more upside with Mark Andrews though.
Yeah, fair enough. Honorable mentions for cash this week. We've got Mike Davis filling in for the CMC role. CD Lamb.
Oh, boy.
Wide receiver 2.
That's right. Wide receiver 2. See you later, Michael.
Yep, it's CD. I think it's pretty clear at this point. CD Lamb is the wide receiver 2. Tim Patrick from Thursday night on Denver. Mm-hmm. He went really, really crazy. 23 points. Traquan Smith, your Hail Mary matchup of the week for the Saints. He did really well, plus 20 points. Will Fuller almost had 30 points if he caught that last catch.
Yeah.
And then Dalton Schultz. Dalton game script Schultz. 4 receptions on 8 targets. Finished with the touchdown and 17 points. All these players today, regardless of who they were, everyone was...
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash. If you had these players, you're happy. But of course, every time there is cash plays, we also bring you trash plays.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
He needs some milk.
Jared Goff starting off at quarterback with the trash performance. The smash matchup against the New York Football Giants. And he finishes with 11 fantasy points.
Wow.
What happened?
The New York Giants defense.
New York Giants defense is elite.
Look, I wish I could say that. They're not elite, but like you said, you had Jared Goff was a perfect opportunity. People probably were streaming him this week, expecting him to go off against his Giants defense. He really let you down.
Yeah, he did. That's no question. Phillip Rivers, obviously, if you played him, you were not happy. 11 points. I don't think you could stream Phillip in any matchup, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kenyon Drake.
Oh, boy.
Do we have to talk about Kenyon Drake?
He needs some milk.
Kenyon Drake, 13 carries, 35 yards, 3.5 fantasy points. This was not a good game.
Not at all. I'm really skeptical about Kenyon Drake. I am not sold on him. I don't think I was ever sold on him. I think during the draft, if I remember correctly, I always chose Austin Eckler over him purely because DeAndre Hopkins. And I think that when DeAndre Hopkins came to this went to the Arizona Cardinals, they changed their whole offensive script to cater him. So I think Kenyon Drake has been left out. He is not loved.
Let me splash a little spice of hope in there for the Kenyon Drake owners. We got a couple DMs. Do I drop Kenyon Drake?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
You do not drop Kenyon Drake. Okay? The volume is there. You need to keep in mind in this game, it was a great matchup. However, the Panthers were up the entire game.
Right.
By the way, we talked about this in our last podcast. We said the Panthers are a better team than people think they are, and this is going to be a closer game. The Panthers were up the entire game, which hurt Kenyon Drake's game script. He also left. He's not injured, by the way. He's completely fine. He just lost his breath, but he left the game for a bit. So to give you a little bit of hope, his next matchup is the New York Jets. To be clear, if he does not put up at least 15 points against the New York Jets, you can go into panic mode. Okay?
Yeah, fair.
Just to be clear. Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, man. Another one.
Volume was crazy. 18
Yes.
touches, finished with 8.9 fantasy points. Not a great day. Joshua Kelly. You like Joshua Kelly.
Yep.
It wasn't a great day, though, was it?
It wasn't a great day. He'll definitely bounce back. He had a fumble in the game. Anthony Lynn hates fumbles. And if you're going to fumble, next guy up for Anthony Lynn. So if he can hold the ball, then he is going to see all the carries that he can get.
Yep. Darrell Henderson is our last trash performance from the running back position. All this talk about, man, this is a beautiful matchup with the New York Giants. You and I had the same thought process. We literally said this on the podcast before last week, before week 4, prepping you for the week. That Rams backfield is a Russian roulette situation.
Yep.
Okay? You never know who it's going to be. If you had the high hopes that Darrell Henderson was going to be the guy, remember that Malcolm Brown was the guy. Okay?
Yep.
Oh, wait. We drafted a rookie. Maybe we'll get Cam Akers in there. Maybe Cam will be the guy.
Yep.
Here's the deal. This backfield, you want to avoid entirely.
Absolutely.
Am I wrong?
No, you're definitely right, especially with the reports that Cam Akers is ready for week 5. You don't know who you're gonna start. If you had all 3 of these guys on your team, you don't know who to start, especially when Cam Akers is back. You had a little bit more of an understanding who to start. You had that 50-50 chance with Darnell or Malcolm Brown, but I'm not starting either of these guys.
Yeah, you shouldn't be starting anyone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about trash wide receivers.
No, man.
AJ Green.
No.
AJ Green finished with 1 reception for 3 yards, 1.3 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about AJ later in the game. But what if I told you that AJ Green finished with more catches than Calvin Ridley?
No way.
If you are a Calvin Ridley owner, I just want to tell you, hey, man, better days are ahead.
For
Okay?
sure.
Better days are ahead. Don't let this get you down. If you know a Calvin Ridley owner in your league, send them a text. Be like, hey, bro, been thinking about you. It doesn't have to get weird. Just be like, love you, bro. Calvin Ridley finished with 0 points. I will take the goose egg special, please, Calvin said.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
not a good game. To be clear, Matt Ryan missed him in the end zone
Yes.
once,
Yes.
and then he underthrew him twice.
Wow.
This is gonna be his worst game of the year.
100%. 100%. I think Calvin will bounce back. I mean, with Julio getting hurt again, he could step up and get all that volume, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yep. Tyler Lockett. What a disappointing performance
Yeah,
for
definitely let
these
you
wide
down.
receivers. Tyler Lockett, by the way, had 0 points, I think, going into the fourth quarter. That is a scary situation to be in.
Yeah.
He finished with 2 receptions for 39 yards, 5.9 fantasy points. This is obviously an outlier, right?
Oh, 100%. He'll definitely bounce back. Don't stress about Tyler Lockett. I don't know.
Yeah. Michael Gallup, I think you probably should talk about this. You're a bit more passionate about Michael
I
Gallup
love Michael Gallup because he's wide receiver 3. He's the wide receiver 3. He has went from wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 3 in a span of 4 weeks. Michael Gallup, 29 yards, 2 receptions, 4 points. Yep. It's just not good enough. Say hello to the wide receiver 3 for the Dallas Cowboys, Michael Gallup.
Yeah. Here's the actual thing that's scary, though, with this situation. I do believe that CeeDee Lamb finishes as the wide receiver 2 at the end of the year. However, I feel like you will be disappointed in weeks when you start Lamb. And then Gallup will go off.
Yes, I think
this
so.
This is a situation with these two guys where you might not be able to trust either of them just yet.
Right. I think you're right. And I think that what happens is that they game plan. There's too many weapons. They game plan for Zeke. They game plan for Dak. They game plan for Amari. And then they realize, Michael Gallup can really come and disturb us as well. But they forget about CD. Yeah. And then there's going to be weeks that teams game plan for CD over Michael Gallup. And then vice versa, Michael Gallup over CD. It's going to go back and forth. I just really think that they are going to give Michael Gallup the ball a lot less.
Yep. Tight ends that were trash. Mike Gesicki, 2.5 points, 1 reception. Tyler Higbee, 3 receptions, 21 yards, and 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
When he was cash, he only had 5 receptions, and 3 of them were touchdowns. And we were very clear to say this could go real bad real quick.
That's right. Not for me.
But those are our cash. No, they're not our cash. They are our trash performances. We got some honorable mentions, though. Myles Gaskin. Where the hell was the volume? All this talk about Myles Gaskin being the volume king. What happened, Miami?
He
is the perfect Dolphin. That's what their coach said. He wasn't great this week. Anthony Miller, what's all this talk about? Nick Foles loving the slot.
Oh my gosh. What a disappointment. I started him. Let me down.
Massive letdown. DJ Moore.
No, another one.
DJ Moore, we have to come to grips with the reality that he is not a wide receiver 1 anymore.
Right.
Why don't we talk about Robert Woods?
Roberto Woods. Oh my gosh.
Roberto Woods. Oh my goodness. He was trash.
Terrible.
9.7 fantasy points. Not the performance that you were hoping for. Look, this is going to happen though. This is not going to be his everyday week, every week performance.
Are you trading for him? Am I going to get Roberto Woods on the low to keep as a flex potentially?
That's actually a great question.
I'm trying to think of something.
Got to tune into our next show to find out if we are trading for Robert Woods. We're going to give you trade targets on the next show. But let's give our last honorable mention a nice little clap. Brandon Cooks.
You got to love it. 0.
Joined the Goose Egg Club. Not a great performance. You cannot start Brandon Cooks with any confidence at all.
He's done skis. Get him out. Drop him.
Yep. That was our straight cash and just trash performances of week 4. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If there's anyone that you think we missed, why don't you hit us up? Lots of people played really well this week.
Yeah.
But hey, we're about to give you 2 thoughts for 2 drops. Again, 2 thoughts for 2 drops. Let's get into it.
Stop! I could have dropped my croissant.
Let's talk about it. Who are the players that we are considering dropping? There's probably a lot of players in your leagues that you are like, what do I do with this person? I'll start us off, Badaki.
Yeah.
AJ Green.
Oh, boy.
It's been disappointing to say the least, right? The
Yes.
targets were there through the first 2 weeks. We saw the opportunity. I remember that week on Thursday Night Football, he had 13 targets.
Oh, man.
And we said the volume is king.
Yep.
And then he went and put up 1.3 fantasy points this week.
It's not what you want.
Can you drop him? Can you drop AJ Green right now?
Look, I personally would. I know a lot of people are going to say, why are you dropping him? It's AJ Green. That's why. You're keeping him because of his name. If you're trying to win your fantasy league, I guess a smart play, keep him on your bench, don't start him, wait for that breakout game, sell him. And if he doesn't and you need that space, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. Like it's an easy drop.
Yeah. That's fair. I personally, and you could be very right here, I personally am struggling to let him go just yet.
Yeah.
Okay? There are a lot of players on the waiver wire that I don't want to have, obviously, because they're on the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see an AJ Green, yes, it's hard. But I am holding on to the hope that somehow he is relevant. One injury, that's all it takes.
That's right.
In this offense. One injury. Maybe T. Higgins. We hope, obviously, that injuries never happen. But all it takes is one injury for AJ Green to again be forced targets, to have the opportunity. His coach says AJ Green is doing everything we want him to. Okay? However,
is that all?
Maybe they don't want him to do much.
Clearly.
Right? But for me, I am holding on to AJ. But we love to give you different opinions here. You know, maybe you can decide what you would like to do. You've got a drop thought. Who are you thinking?
My guy, once again, has also been disappointing. The targets hasn't been there at all. And we actually really thought that his volume was going to go up. You know, he was an elite receiver a couple years ago. He was a guy that you would draft really high in drafts. And his name's T.Y. Hilton. Look, with Phillip Rivers' history coming in, we knew that he loved that big receiver. Or not, I mean, T.Y. is not even a big receiver, but he loves his receivers. We saw that connection he had with Keenan Allen. Obviously, he had that for years. And I thought T.Y. could be that guy to step in to fill those targets. Yeah. And it's just not there. It's just not there. For me, this is an easy drop. The highest target game he had was 9, and the lowest was 3. The past 3 weeks, it's been 5. Week 2, 5 targets. Week 3, 3 targets. Week 5 or week 4, 4 targets. It's not there.
You are saying you are dropping him with confidence.
100%.
Okay.
Once again,
I'm gonna.
Once again, it's a.
Yeah.
Before I know what you're about to say. It's
okay.
It's a big name. It's T.Y. Hilton. He's there. He's clearly still the wide receiver 1, but nothing's happening. He's not throwing it. Phillip is not throwing the ball. Keep him once. It's like the AJ Green situation. Keep him on your bench because once again, it's one more injury away from something to happen. You know, this is T.Y. Hilton. Let's remember that. And just like AJ Green.
Here's my issue with it. And this is a double-edged sword here. The Colts defense so far has been fantastic.
Right.
Which means that they have not had to pass very much at all. Their defense has allowed them to run the ball. Again, Jonathan Taylor had 17, 18 carries. He had 20 carries in one half a week or two ago.
Yeah.
The only reason I am holding on to T.Y. is because I believe their schedule is going to get a little bit harder, and I think they're going to have to start throwing the ball in some of these matches with Paris Campbell on IR. I'm not dropping him. And if there was a Justin Jefferson and I had to decide, do I take T.Y. or Justin Jefferson off the waivers? That is a different situation. However, some people might be in a position where they're like, Preston Williams, for example, Miami, has the opportunity for a breakout.
Right.
Am I going to stash Preston Williams on my bench or am I going to stash T.Y.? I'm stashing Ty
100%.
because that's the quality of players that are on the waiver wire. We'll give you waiver wires probably today at some point. But am I crazy for holding on to both of these guys, or am I just thinking about the names too much?
No, you're not crazy. I'm thinking about it too. I think the reason why I'm confident in dropping Ty is because Paris Campbell is out. We've seen Ty with Paris Campbell's out. His volume should have increased a little bit.
Yeah.
Michael Pippen Jr. gets hurt. He needed to get surgery. He's out for a couple months. His volume should be increasing a little bit. Now Ty played a whole game without the two guys, his two backups, and he still hasn't done anything.
Totally. And I think this could go either way.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's just it was a tough matchup. I don't know.
Yeah, well, regardless, definitely some things to think about. Who are you thinking about dropping this week? Why don't you let us know in the comments? We would be happy to give our thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But that is our 2 thoughts for 2 drops. We're going to give you these every Tuesday or every Monday. We're going to give it to you every week. Let's just say that.
Whenever we can.
Whenever we can, we're going to give it to you. As you know, we are doing 3 episodes a week, making sure to give you all the fantasy content that we can. Our next episode, we are going to give you some trade targets. Trade for and trade away. We're also going to be talking about our league, the Fellowship of the Fantasy Ring. Mm-hmm. The Fellowship of the Fantasy Ring, the league that we cover in this podcast.
That's right.
We're going to give you the update. Just a little preview. I did terrible this week. Probably going to talk about it. And we're going to give you a Thursday night football preview. But hey, like we said, we do monthly giveaways at FantasyLand Football. This month, we are doing a signed OBJ jersey from RSA. So what have you got to lose? Head over to our Instagram page at FantasyLand Football. Give us a follow and follow all the steps to enter that competition. Man, week 4 is done.
Week 4.
For me, another week. I got to keep my eyes up, you know?
Yeah, 100%. You definitely have to keep grinding out. For those people out there, maybe you own 4, 1 and 3, whatever the case may be, the season's still not over. You can still turn it around. It's either one trade away, one play away, one game away from you getting that win.
Exactly.
Stay in it. Keep your head up. If you need help, once
100%.
again, DM us. We'll love to help you.
DM us. We reply to hundreds of DMs every day. Keep in mind, what's happened, English is hard. What has happened the past 4 weeks could happen in reverse for you.
That's right.
The next 4 weeks.
That's right.
Right? All the things that went wrong, no matter how many there were, could go right. So don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Fantasy is the most frustrating but the most exciting game on the planet. But hey, follow us on Instagram if you'd like. We post all sorts of awesome content there, as well as Twitter at FantasyLand_FB. You can watch the podcast on YouTube, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, or you can listen on any podcast platform in the world. Thank you so much for taking out the time to listen to the FantasyLand Football Podcast. As always, we'll see you on the next one. See you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast, you made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.